ladies and gentlemen. Here we are on Abyssal City, and over on the left-hand side of the map, we have our pink Zerg player from the team Incredible Miracle, still sporting that Fnatic RC tag, but it is Bjol. And his opponent off to the right-hand side, purple. Of course, pink and purple going to be the easiest to determine between these two players.
Oh, yeah.
We have our purple Zerg player from Team Liquid, Zenio.
So ZVZ on Abyssal City, pretty big map. You can get a lot of things done on it. And taking a look at the natural expansion, you know, the ramp it's kind of nice and tucked up a little bit. It's not, protruding extraordinarily far or anything, but it is. Oh, excuse me, I'm talking about the ramp into the main base.
Ah, I see.
It's important always to take a look at that in a ZVZ match. You want to know, can the spine crawler cover my ramp as well as my hatchery and my mineral line? You know, the closer everything is really tucked in, such as on maps like Ohana or they're really, really close. But then if you look at a map like Entombed Valley, very far away and much more difficult to hold here. And Abyssal City, it's not too bad, so aggression is somewhat limited in its potency.
Yeah, it looks like, we'll see what both players do here in just a second, but already gunning it for what looks to be a 15 pool for Bjol, and on the other side, a hatch first for Zenio. So a little bit of a difference between these two players, but certainly very common openings to get things started. No very aggressive 8-10 pool, anything along those lines.
Well, metagame has been shifting ever so much. We're just seeing players realizing, you know what, gas tends to be the better route to go for. Not to say that you definitely can't go gasless, but at this stage we're seeing, players get their metabolic boost, they move towards banelings, and they just, they go for this baneling tech, and it may end up in some combat, it may not. But even if it doesn't, you can pretty seamlessly just transition right out of it. So here's the gas for Zenio already going down. Beals is actually timed almost exactly the same. So.
So looks like they were having some server issues. The Bjol had to stop things first, saying he had some lag, and then Zenio saying that he had some significant stuff after that. So hopefully things settle down for these two players and they'll be able to move along. Bjol, of course, going to have that much earlier first queen, but will have his hatch a little bit delayed there. Zenio, of course, going to put up two of those queens at the same time. Didn't decide to put down gas super early, so he's not going to have that quickest possible Zergling speed, but looks like actually with the gas timings lining up for both players, so we're going to have those hit at about the same time.
Now, Bjol did make two Zerglings. They're headed out across the map right now, and we'll see if Zenio, he does reciprocate with two Zerglings of his own. He's also making his queens, and he's just going to continue droning here. So we won't have a large economic disparity here for Bjol or anything. And we can see Zenio's opting to play it safe here, because you very easily can opt to, not make these lings. You can just rely on the queens instead. It's going to have to run away with this drone for the moment. It should be just fine. Here the lings arriving, and we'll chase off Bjol.
That's right. So we'll see if they duck around and try and kill this drone still, and indeed they do. They're going to circle back around one more time, and actually this is denied a little bit of mining time here. It looks like he saves it just at the last instant by making an extractor, but again, another 6 minerals taken out, and if those Zerglings weren't going to do anything anyway, good that they finally got something done. I actually want to take a look at Bjol's vision. He did get inside of the main. He got a pretty good scout as to what was going on, so nothing's really in the dark for either player.
All right, there's the baneling nest out of both players. And this definitely doesn't, in the past, banelings used to typically mean like, you could morph in some defensive banelings, especially with these baneling nests on the low ground. Does, lean towards that tendency a little bit more, but banelings definitely don't mean necessarily aggression anymore. In fact, the game has just gotten to a point where players are so good at scouting for timings, and they know exactly what to look for, and, well, it's more of kind of what to look for not. If you don't see, 4 gases at a certain time, if you don't see that third base, which is really the only other thing. So, like, if you're sitting on 2 or 3 gases come time when, at a point where you should be taking your 4 gases, and it's very obvious, you're going for roach timing. Well, I can actually hold this and then basically just win because I'll be too far ahead. So, banelings has really just been the safety route so that these players can move into the later stages of the game.
And both players are mirroring each other pretty closely once again. Looks like Zenio's a little bit behind on his layer, if that's the path he wants to go down, as he is morphing in his second gas right now. But he's got his defensive spine crawler, 2 banelings morphed in for defensive purposes, same thing that Bjol has on the way. Big difference, of course, is that Bjol's going for 4 gas immediately. So he's going to have a very powerful response ready here in a bit. Looks like Zenio puts his up just a little bit later. And the question is really going to be, what tech do they decide to move down? Because if we see Infestor play out of both players, not going to be that big of a difference, even with the difference in timing between the two layers, because they'll need to sit back, accumulate that high Infestor count, go up to a third base, things along those lines. But if we see one player decide to gun it for Mutas, that's when things can get a little bit interesting.
Yeah, Buell's looking like, I mean, this is something that StarTale's Life actually really enjoys doing. Right when his lair's about to complete, he makes a ton of Zerglings. After going for quick 4 gases, makes a bunch of Lings, goes, denies your third while he drops his Spire behind it. And, you know, sometimes it turns into this Ling Bane combat at the third bit, which, I mean, Life is fantastic at. We're going to see if Buell can pull it off here. Ling's running around the third base right now, but he's got a lot of Lings coming to reinforce. Those Banelings for Zenio did not want to go down with such a poor cost. At least he's not going to lose any more there.
No, but once again, another perfect scout. He actually sees everything, including the Roach Horn that's coming out, which is a dead giveaway that this is Roach Infestor. And he has that Spire already pretty far along. It's, about halfway done now at the moment. All the while, he's actually denying this hatchery in the top right-hand corner. Baneling's finally trying to swing around, but at the same time, Zenio is heading down to the bottom left-hand corner.
That he is, and Buell doesn't seem prepared for this quite. You know, he's a little focused right now on denying the third of Zenio. Hasn't really looked out at home for his own. Now he's going to need... Oh, he loses the hatchery, in fact. And he's got units in order to deal with these Lings, but one of the things that Buell has to do here is try to get an NL on that third, and it doesn't look like he's going to be able to do it.
No. Let's actually see what he has here in the top right-hand corner. There's a few units that are kind of hanging around, but this has now been allowed to accumulate a ton of resources. Nice Baneling hit there from Buell, though, and it does carry him a little bit of a Zergling advantage. He's going to try and press that by moving into the main.
Oh.
Baneling's popping up just a second too late any faster, and they would have been fine. This Queen is going to fall. Oh, wow! He needs to gun that down. There we go, finally, but at the loss of almost every single one of his Zerglings, Baneling swinging in to help this third, too, and even though there are 8 Mutas on the way, Infestors are going to be popping up not too long from now.
That's, yeah, that's definitely true, but the 9 Mutas, I mean, they are actually, they're about 3/4 of the way down this Queen. Looking like it's going to be saved narrowly by the reinforcing Zerglings. The other one did get picked off, however. So Buell doing some nice damage to the production capabilities of Zenio, but at the same time, you know, his third got denied. Zenio's is completed. It's a narrowly close game right now, but now the Mutas are on the field. Infestors will be starting any moment.
Yeah, Zenio has Spore Crawlers popping up in all of his bases. He's making 2 more Queens to supplement the ones that he lost. That was the big thing that Buell actually got done, was killing those Queens. But the thing was that he didn't deny the hatchery. His opponents, has been able to deny this hatch over and over again. Looks like this Baneling, hopefully Zenio will split up. He does, and cost-efficiently trades with a lot of those units. This is where it's going to get a little bit interesting. And if Zenio holds here without taking too much damage, he's actually at a massive advantage because of the third that he didn't lose.
Yeah, and I mean, Buell can't stick around for too long. He doesn't know where those Infestors are spawning, Kevin, and they're about to pop out here in just a second. It doesn't look like they're happening to be ending at the third, but he does not know that, so he's going to have to pull back.
No, and indeed he does. He's being joined with some Zerglings now to continue trying to put pressure on the space here in the top right-hand corner, but there the Infestors, a nice fungal growth, actually catches most of the Mutalisks, does significant damage to them. He can't follow it up with a second fungal growth, but that's plenty enough to ward away those units.
Oh, most certainly. Buell currently at 80 supply. Zenio sitting at over 100. He's in a very nice position right now, as you iterated earlier, you know, with these 3 bases, and Buell just getting his third established right now. I mean, let's take a look actually at the worker supplies for these 2 players. 62 to 52. Zenio operating with quite an economy right now, bringing in a lot of gas. About 100 a minute more than his opponent, and a couple of Mutas are going to be captured here as well. None go down, however. They'll escape at least for the moment.
Yeah. Oh, that could have been really bad, but a whiff on the fungal growth for Zenio. He's not able to take anything down. He has killed 3 Mutas, though, already. I don't know if any more have been added on. Looks like 2 more were added. I think those were actually cleaning up Overlords down in the bottom left-hand corner there for a little while, but they're probably rallying to join the rest of the troops here in just a second. There they are. So this is still a pretty, even though Zenio has lost a little bit of stuff here, this is still a good situation for him. He's way ahead on his Roaches. He's way ahead on upgrades. He's already going up to Hydralisks. Mm-hmm. His Infestor count is out in force. He's got 7 to his opponent's 0. So even though, you know, there's still a little bit of a presence with these Mutalisks, they've greatly lost their ability to get anything done.
I mean, it's, you know, look at it at its face value. Well, what's going to win in an engagement? Muta Roach or Roach Hydra Infestor?
Mm-hmm. Roach Hydra Infestor all the way.
Yeah, these 2 armies cannot clash, or else the game will end with Zenio winning.
Yeah, I believe, as the great George Washington said, roach hydra all day, every day. So, anyway, let's see here as the mutas are going to try and swing back in, but the infestors are sitting at the back with pretty full energy, and those mutas can't poke in all that far. And it's going to require really good control out of them for the rest of the game. The moment they clump up even a little bit is the moment they all die.
Exactly, and now there's hydras on the field. One muta goes down, second muta falls as well. Roach attack is here, but Zenio's got a lot to deal with this.
Oh, and there we go. There's the fungal growth on top of all the Mutalisks, and they're basically going to die immediately. At the same time, it looks like Buell is just going to gun it here for the main. Already, Zenio surrounding these forces, though, just needs to catch up with his infestors, and he's going to be in a really, really nice spot. But he's actually getting a lot of those caught out in the middle while trying to defend, so this is actually not the best situation for him. If he can trap things on the ramp, though, he's going to be in a great spot, and he does. I'm going to start whittling those away one by one, and Buell is getting damage done, quite significant damage at that, but is it enough to start turning the tide completely back in his favor?
Well, he caught all those units out of position, and now, I mean, he's tearing Zenio apart. This is absolutely incredible play out of Buell. And it looks like he's going to be cleaned up in the main, but now he's moving down towards the third. He might get some economic damage in here. And this is exactly what he needs, Kevin, because if he can damage the economy, Zenio's not going to be able to replace this army. Buell will be able to catch up in tech, but as for now, he's just continuing to reinforce with roaches here. And if he can, I mean, if he can get rid of those infestors just by, splitting and multitasking and not getting his units caught by fungals, or even get rid of the fungal growths and make those infestors worthless, Buell could take this.
Yeah, Zenio needs to be able to split up his forces here. That's his big issue, is that he's not effectively doing that whatsoever. Yeah, I mean, if the queen falls, that's actually the last queen on the map. So Zenio is actually out of queens completely. He's trying to make 2 more right now. He's splitting up his forces again, but again, Buell's coming back in and trying to do damage with a split attack. And he's doing it quite successfully. The rest of the energy is pretty much gone from these infestors, and his multitasking is what's really keeping him not just in this game, but also a bit ahead now.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing more and more of this as well. Players able to split up roaches. You're finding it's way easier to be aggressive on multiple fronts than it is to defend on multiple fronts. And we're seeing the effects of that right now as Buell is now at 140 supply, even though he's behind on upgrades. He's behind on tech. He's behind on everything. Just the fact that he was able to get in there and get roaches into the main and some into the third and flank those infestors, Buell is suddenly running away with this game.
Oh, yeah, and the rest of the units are actually dying inside of the main, and the one big advantage that Zenio was carrying was the fact that he had an economic advantage, but that's actually slipping as a lot of workers are pulled off the line, more are being killed, and these roaches are just going unopposed, even with inferior upgrades, vastly inferior upgrades, I might add, as +1 Carapace is just about to finish for Zenio, and it looks like he finally will be able to rally back and kill that force up at the front, but then he has no answer for what's popping inside of his natural again. The natural is under attack, and Zenio just can't do anything about this.
Buell's doing a great job, too, of pulling back with small groups that he sees are losing their engagements. Ideally, you don't want to leave 2 or 3 roaches sitting against, 4 or 5. You realize, these are just going to waste themselves. Let me pull them back. Wait for Zenio to move those roaches somewhere else, and then he'll swing back in with those 3 or 4 roaches and harass again, as he's doing in the third right now. There's like 3 roaches in there, just killing off drones once again, and now Zenio has to send units again to deal with these.
Unbelievable comeback here. I mean, Zenio was just vastly ahead in this game, and now Buell is actually just about to take this and put this to a 1-0 advantage for Incredible Miracle. Now, Zenio has been doing a really nice job of continuing his upgrades throughout this whole process. He's got enough resources that he could put down more roaches, but unfortunately for him, all of his queens were killed multiple times and he needed to re-inject. Looks like he's finally stabilized for the moment now, and I'm actually very impressed that Zenio didn't just die right there. And this is actually a problem now for Buell, because if Buell didn't kill Zenio and Zenio is able to find some way back to equalize in any way, shape, or form, get enough units out there to hold one more big push, then he's actually going to have such superior upgrades that a much smaller force will actually be able to take this game for him.
You're definitely right, Kevin. He's going to snipe the third, though, and get out. And remember, the economy behind this of Zenio is much smaller as well. Zenio kind of needs to go for a counterattack all in here because Buell is getting himself to infestor tech. I guess he doesn't absolutely have to. You know, he does have that upgrade advantage, which could help with his economic deficit, but he's about to lose his Roach War, and with it, his capability of making any additional units here as Buell is continuing to pick off more and more units down at that third.
Yeah, and now that pendulum swings way back into Buell's favor. But again, you can see this upgrade disadvantage really coming into effect now as Buell's just not able to get anything done against any sizable pack of roaches. So this base is being reestablished. How many workers are out there? 35 to 50. Buell was not gone for another base. Surprisingly not gone for another upgrade. He's had plenty of resources. He could start any upgrade right now, and it would help him. Pathogen Glands is a good choice to start getting some infestors out there.
Yeah, he does have a lot of gas right now, but in this situation, I mean, if we take a look at the unit supply of these guys, it's 36 to 28 with 4 infestors and 5 hydras. So 5, 28, and 4 is with much better upgrades. Zenio will absolutely take an engagement off Buell here if he attacks.
Yeah. He'll annihilate him.
So, I mean, a little perplexed right now why Zenio's not making the push. Yes, Buell may force a base race. If he does, that's the best Zenio can ask for right now, honestly.
Will Zenio have enough forces to defend this? Oh, you just got to hope he doesn't turn around and he just keeps going.
I agree.
All right, and it looks like he is going to keep going. All the forces are basically pulled out of position. Zenio can just produce whatever he wants now and move in and try and defend this. It looks like he is going to lose his third here, but at the same time, he's got that massive push coming out. 6 infestors are on the way for Buell, but he's still a long way away from having those up.
But Zenio is buying time for Buell, whose infestors are nearing completion right now. If these infestors hit the field, this game could be over for Zenio, guys. He's got to make his push. He's got to make it now. He's giving Buell time to split up his roaches so the fungals are going to be less effective. Infested Terrans going down to back up this army, add on that extra DPS, but now the infestors are on the field for Buell.
Yes, they are, and a pretty decent concave initially for Buell, who does drop down the fungal growths. Man, if Zenio had just gone about 30 seconds ago, this would have been such a different story. Still, though, look at the power of upgrades, and Zenio is fighting back this army once again, despite the fact that he's lost his third base over and over and over again. The fungal growths are now gone, and his force has been able to fight itself to victory. And look at this, a big turn of events once again. A crazy first game we've had here, and now Buell is taking significant economic damage.
Yeah, those upgrades are fantastic, and it's really, I mean, it's great to see Zenio, although he waited all that time, you know, it really looked like Buell may have been able to hold that, but Zenio's upgrades with the Hydralisks as well, supplementing that DPS in the back, looking like it's just too much no matter what. A little bit of a skirmish up towards the natural expansion as the third has fallen now. We'll see Queen's getting sniped out. Buell doing everything he can to hold on right now. But, you know, his infestors at this point are dead, Kevin, and I don't think there's much of an answer for him.
GG,
wow.
And Zenio takes game number 1 for Team Liquid. I don't even know what to say about that game. That was not the cleanest game we've ever seen in IPTL history. Some major mistakes made on both sides, but Zenio's the one who ends up being more resilient. And even though at one point he was down by 60 supply, superior upgrades and a continued investment back into his queens kept him in the game.
Yeah, that's a great point too. Not letting up on that production is what kept him alive. You know, you mentioned, you said it right as Buell's attack stopped. You said, well, now Buell's in a bit of a situation because he has no tech behind this and he's very behind on upgrades. He kind of needed to kill Zenio. And, you know, it was still very close. Although that battle may have looked like completely one-sided, if a couple of clutch fungals had landed and got off some serious damage, you know, could have, maybe.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Been a different story, but wow, yeah, a fantastic game to open things up.
All right, guys, well, that is game number 1 in the bag. Zenio takes it for Team Liquid, who's up 1-0 on Incredible Miracle. Certainly one of the best teams in StarCraft 2 right now, so we're going to run to a commercial break. When we come back, Zenio's going to have to take on Incredible Miracles first. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.